I'm from V-Line, Head of Procurement for Excellence. So what does that do? So we are looking after the technology side, the reporting analytics, the process change and training, compliance, governance, and risk. And I've been with V-Line for a year and a half now, close to. I've learned a lot in government procurement. I'll touch some of those things today, but I'll give you a brief overview of V-Line. This is before we had free public transport, right? So these numbers are all blown out now. So this is passenger trips per year, 26.4 million. Train services per week is 2,500. We have coach services. Not many people know that we have coach services. It's a large coach network. You can see some of the rail tracks that we have. These are all we need to maintain. And we do have about 3,000 employees, but that's just kind of like the ones on the books. But because when there's rail replacement, we have a lot of outsourced suppliers, these numbers go up considerably. And I think, was it Andre who asked about, what would you do, tell your CEO if you want to be the customer of choice? I said free public transport, but not now. After the last 2 months, we've been overwhelmed with so much patronage that our trains can't cope right now. But that's a possible choice of free public transport in the future. Talking about procurement in V-Line. So we had 3 requirements. So at the moment, I'll give you some context of the current situation. So we have about 17 government policy overlays over V-Line policy overlays. There's about 1,000 scenarios of buying channels if you're in government procurement. So it's a very, very, very complex buying pathways. For a user who does not do that for a day-to-day work, a person in the depot, they would not know what pathways they need to go, right? So from a business user perspective, what we wanted is to make it a very simple way to ask, right? Because at the moment, if they want to buy you a pencil or a laptop, they don't know where to go, what to choose, what system to use, who to ask. So we wanted a simple way to ask. And obviously, you can't wait for days and weeks. So we want a fast response. And then we want very clear clarity in their next steps, right? So that's one of the requirements from a business user perspective. From our procurement team perspective, we wanted a standardized intake because and we wanted a policy-aware routing. So because I told you about the 17 policy overlays, V-Line policy overlays, then we have departmental policy overlays and divisional policy overlays. We want them not to think about all of those policy overlays and get confused with forms. We should be able to trace, and auditability is very important for us. We need to follow the right level of delegation of approvals as well. From a government perspective, obviously, it's compliance, right? So we are using public funding. So we need to be compliant with every single policy, process, framework. Probity is important. We need to be very fair and equitable. Government does assurance all the time. We do attestations all the time. We should be able to do audits. We should be able to provide evidence that we are doing what the government policy requirements are. In general, what the government wants is good governance, and that's what we want as well. So how do you make it not so front in mind, but in the back of your mind, in the sense it's that you don't need to worry about it? Anyone working in Victorian government? Yep, I think there's few at that table. They will know the pain. So we have state purchasing contracts, which means it's mandated, we need to use it. So we need to use a digital marketplace. That's a system that's not even Zycus. That's not even a system that we use. Categories that are mandated and that categories are not mandated. So we would not even I don't know sometimes what is mandated and what's not mandated. And then we have, very rightly, we have a lot of social obligations. So we have local jobs first, social procurement, we have Indigenous procurement. We actually provide businesses that actually do disability priority. So we do have a lot of those kind of social and sustainable procurement. We award them. We are mandated to do some weightings, and we also report on them. And being a regional V-line company, we also want to have an impact on our regional towns, because the economic impact on those towns are very important for us. While we connect the railway, the economic impact is huge because of those frequency of trains, because of the tourism. So, and we want to improve the businesses and the mum and dad companies there, and also the local jobs. So all of these are the rules that we need to do. I know in commercial organizations we do that too, but in government procurement, this is almost mandated. While we were thinking about all of these things and how to simplify it, because at the moment it's very complex to navigate yourself. I think Nimesh, Chiranjeev and Zain one day came to us and did a presentation on Merlin intake. And we thought, okay, all right, how do we kind of incorporate that and simplify our processes, our pathways, and provide the user who doesn't know procurement, the moving away from work, forms and portals and PDFs to just providing the asking the question. So I think Shirley mentioned just ask a simple question and you get all of these kind of outputs, and that's exactly what we wanted. So we want to move away from the static forms because we have a lot of forms. The staff are so used to just calling it out by numbers. So they will call CPFO 11. I wouldn't even know what that is because they're so used to using their forms. They know exactly what it is. But as a new person coming into the organization, I didn't know. Right? If I don't know, I'll be using the wrong forms. And most of those rules that the staff followed were based on the historical use cases. So I used to do this, so I'm going to repeat the same rule, whilst the policy might have changed, the rules, the process, the approvals might have changed. And then the routing is based on, so there was this app that you can actually choose your approver. So you can bypass your delegation of authority, you can bypass the complete policy framework, and you can choose the approver, and that was all fine based on the previous process. And obviously the compliance checks are done after submission. New pathway means always we kind of create a new form. So you can build a library of forms rather than actually kind of finding a simple way to just launch into what you need to do. So what we wanted is an intelligent front door. So we wanted to make it very conversational. So we are testing Merlin intake to kind of get to that point. We wanted all the policies encoded. So anytime we make a change, it doesn't result in a huge change management, because for the user, the end user, they only see the outcome. They see the outcome, not the change management process. Yes, of course, there are some change management that needs to be done, but the change management process becomes a lot more streamlined. And then the routing is taken care because it'll be the back-end routing changes so that the user doesn't have to choose, user doesn't have to think about it. And the compliance check can be done while you're doing that too. So you can say, this is a policy break, we need to go, we need to use this. These are the options that you can choose. And wherever there's a new category or new pathways, again, that's done in the back end. So what's the next steps? So what we want to kind of close off is all of those multiple entry points and make it one entry point, right? So what AI intake does is people just go to Teams. That's what they do on a day-to-day basis. They just type in natural language. Policies and guidance are at the point of asking. I think Shirley did a fantastic demo on it. I do have a very, very quick demo, but it's pretty straightforward. It's all inbuilt. The it's guided by rules, and it tracks and approves in one place. So you can actually kind of look at teams and look at all the guidance that you're getting, and it's done in natural language. That's the best part about it. So anyone who's using Teams from a training perspective, from a change management perspective, that becomes much easier. And a person who never does this procurement on a day-to-day basis at the depot, at the station, they can do it on their own and with the guidance of Merlin Intake. All right, so we kind of wanted to do this pilot. We didn't want to do macro. I think Artish mentioned that, don't go and do it to the citizens, do it within. So what we want to do is kind of a very controlled pilot. So we have, at the moment, there's about 13 exemptions and variations and contract onboarding forms. We chose 3 of those forms to do this Merlin Intake, because what we want to do is, within procurement, we want to make sure that the technology works. Because the last thing we want to do is roll that out to a broader V line and get, the outcome isn't great, and then they lose confidence. So what we're doing right now is we're doing 3 forms. We have done the UAT. We're just waiting clearance from the cybersecurity team, but we should be in a position to roll that out almost next week. So all our approvers who does procurement exemptions, contract variations, and supply convention can go into Microsoft Teams, can type in, do I have exemptions? And it'll pop up all of the exemptions that's in their bucket, and then they can do the exemptions without going into Zycus through the web. Right, so that's the beauty about it. So you do everything through Teams. Eventually, this is our kind of vision, right? So if we can get through all of those kind of Merlin Intake in the pilots that we're doing, we want to get through onboarding, supply onboarding, so agentic supplier onboarding. We want to get into contract obligations. So one of our problem statement right now is trying to understand what are the obligations in contract. Because we can do a fantastic sourcing activity, we can do a fantastic negotiation, but when it comes to contract management, we're failing. Right? So what we want to do is use Merlin Intake and the agents to find out what are the contract obligations in our contract, and then constantly remind the contract managers of the obligations, right? So these are the expiries, these are the service levels, these are CPI increases that's coming up next year. So that's the next iteration. What we also want to do is completely change the way we actually do the tail end. With government procurement, a lot of the tail end spends are in state purchasing contracts, but we still do have a large chunk of tail spend that we can actually send it through autonomous negotiation. So that's kind of the vision that we want to get to. We want to kind of implement all of this, but we're doing a small bite of implementing 3 forms. We want to get it right, but we are from a approval perspective, our execs are very excited about it. So we can't wait to kind of roll that out, because we have Copilot. There's a Copilot uptake is huge within VLine. So there's a natural attraction to all of these Agentic AI aspects of it. I think we have a video we can play. Is that right? So that was based on our pilot. So we're looking forward to rolling that out, and hopefully we'll have a lot more feedback on how we are going.